when I was doing church music, it just didn't work that way. So I came in, I write my songs with a guy called Layton. He's the lead singer of Father Son. I think they're great. But they're like honestly one of my favourite bands. So I go into his studio to write with him, like in the lead up to going to the studio with the producer to make the song. Okay, I've allowed myself to not experiment too much with the chords here. I'm going to put something weird and experimental in it. I am not just like a secondary character or a part of something else. Like, I am a whole human being. And when I sort of came out the end of that, I was like, what? Who am I?
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what my favourite colour is. I don't know what kind of music I like. I don't know what clothes I want to wear. I don't know how I want to cut my hair. Like, I had to do like 3 years. I had to spend like 6 months doing 3 years worth of like personhood development. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm
I was
good.
sat in like, my manager sent me a Google Meet like time holder, and I was like sat in the Google Meet like...
No, it's okay, don't worry.
I was like...
Don't worry about it, it's okay. But I wanted to talk to you about your single coming out tomorrow, and also your upcoming EP as well, if that's okay. And I first want to talk about like what was the creative process behind church music?
Church music was quite weird because normally when I'm writing songs, like it all kind of comes out at once, and I'll write the song on guitar and then I'll take this like complete thing to the studio and we'll like put it together. But when I was doing church music, it just didn't work that way. So I came in, I write my songs with a guy called Layton. He's the lead singer of Father Son. I think they're great. But they're like honestly one of my favourite bands. So I go into his studio to write with him, like in the lead up to going to the studio with the producer to make this song. And I come in and he's like, I have these really cool chords, listen to this. And I also bought a vocal harmonizer and I think we should just mess with that today. I was like, right, sounds good. So I'm like sat there with the microphone like just like humming as he's like playing these chords, and we're like messing with the sounds and the tones. And I just started saying like, I'll be singing church music, like kind of over and over again. And we were like, okay, that's cool, and latched onto that, and then started building out from it. And then so I wrote the verses with those original weird chords, and then we were like, okay, we need to like, this is quite weird, like we should probably ease a little bit more poppy, like put those like more like accessible chord progressions in, because we're doing like the most goofy ass like distorted jazz chords. I was like, this is, even for me, let's do something chiller. Put the chords in, and I was like, I'll be singing church music, and then we sort of pieced it together from like little lines that both of us like threw out, and like picked the good ones and put them in. That's why it's such like a weird sounding song. Like the lyrics and the lines are all quite, they all tell a story, but they feel quite nonsense almost.
It felt quite haunting when I was listening to it, like almost like it felt like, I don't know, it was really cool. I think it's a great song, but it did feel like very haunting, like I felt like there was like a ghost behind me kind of thing, which was fun.
I don't really know like how that came to be. I think maybe when we went into the studio with Jamie, we had this kind of like bare bones demo, and I was like, I just want to like mess around and see what we can make sonically, and like experiment with like noise as opposed to like songwriting, because I was like, okay, I've allowed myself to not experiment too much with the chords here. I'm going to put something weird and experimental in it.
Of course.
I haven't really done that with the other songs like yet, up to the point when we were like in the recording process. So I was like, let's just put this in, then this and this and this, and then I'd audio recorded my boiler breaking down. It's like this awful noise. I'd like recorded it on my phone. I was like, Jamie, can we use this? Keyboard, like made it into a keyboard set. It was great.
That is so really, cool.
Like wholesome, like what about this? What about this? What about this? Like thing. But it did come out really haunting, and I almost like have retrospectively added this like I have been watching like the TV adaptation of Great Expectations.
Yes, yeah.
With, Gillian Anderson in it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've just written the song about Miss Havisham. Like, Miss Havisham all over it. Like, what am I talking about? Why it was quite like embodying her oddness and quirkiness when doing the whole thing.
Yeah. How would you describe your music, or I guess your sound, to new listeners?
I don't really know. I always feel like it kind of does what it says on the tin, like it's indie rock.
Yeah.
Church music very much is an outlier in that it's become this like almost experimental like electronic piece.
Yeah.
And it feels like an experiment, and it feels like a really good thing has come of this experiment, but like it was quite out there for me, which I really like and really enjoy, and like I studied music, so like for me to be able to do something quite weird is like quite fun. But I think probably the way that I've been describing it is like angry girl rock.
Yes, yeah. It's
So
like female rage to the max, which I think is pretty fun.
Like whatever end of the spectrum of female rage that Lana Del Rey is on, I'm on the
opposite. Yeah.
We are like, could not be further from that. I don't know what I am with, but I know what I'm not.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of like girlhood, that feels like quite a big theme in your music, I guess. So like, why did you choose to like visit that theme? Is it something that you've always felt quite passionate about, or is it just something that you just find yourself writing about?
I'm not really sure. That's actually quite a good question. I've always been like an activist, and I've always been, to greater and lesser degrees, like a feminist activist.
Yeah.
And I've always spoken out about women's rights, but I'd found myself a few years ago in like quite an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah.
And when I then came out of it, I was like, holy fuck, I'm a whole person.
Yeah.
Like, I am not just like a secondary character or
of
like
course,
a part of something else. Like, I am a whole human being.
Yeah.
And because I've been with this person from when I was like 18, and before then you're like maybe 3/4 of a person. Like I think when you're a teenager, you get a little bit old. I mean, I'm 22, like I'm sure when I'm 26 I'll be like, I was 3/4 of a person then. But where I'm sitting right now, I can look back at like teenage me and be like, oh, like you had a lot of growing to do. But I didn't then get to do it for like 3 years. Got to 21 and was like, oh my god, I'm a whole person. And just started writing music again, having not really written very much for like over the course of like a 2 or 3 year period. Just from like being completely consumed by this like partnership I was in.
Yeah.
And when I sort of came out the end of that, I was like, what? Who am I?
Yeah.
Like literally, like I don't know what my favorite color is. I don't know what kind of music I like. I don't know what clothes I want to wear. I don't know how I want to cut my hair. Like I had to do like 3 years. I had to spend like 6 months doing 3 years worth of like personhood development.
Yeah.
And all of the songs came off the back of it, and having been like pushed to be more mature, then when I got to the end of it, I was like, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
Like, for what purpose am I trying to like make myself more womanly? Like, I have no idea what's going on. I feel like a kid. I'm like scared and confused, but like free.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of all bubbled over the top and has come to be a real exploration of like my sense of personhood through the lens of like the wider cultural zeitgeist of girlhood.
Yeah. I think it's so important, like, realizing that you actually have so much to give, and like although you're 23, there's just so much more left for you to like find out and explore. I like just think that's really fun, you know. But and I know you're releasing
finding all this open space in yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, like wait, something's meant to be there. Like,
literally, yeah. And it's like waking up in the morning and being like, oh my God, I get to choose what I do with my day, and like I'm so free to just like roam around. Yeah, it's insane. It is insane. But I know that you're releasing an EP soon, and I was wondering like, what can we sort of expect from the EP, and is it sort of familiar themes from the songs that you've already sort of put out?
I think that the rest of the EP is much more like emotional.
Yeah.
I would say, like, White Rabbit really has that element of like rage.
Yeah.
But there's something about some of the other tracks in the EP. I mean, emotional in like every direction. Like, some of them are like, one of the tracks that's on it that hasn't come out yet is like so upbeat. I don't care. I'm doing whatever I want. Like, la 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 la. Ha ha ha. Like, it's almost like it's really towing the line of like almost being a joke song.
Yeah.
Like, I wrote it with zero intention of there being any musical quality other than it's really fun to jump around to.
Yeah.
But then there's like two others that are so like heartbreaking for totally different reasons. One that's really like, from the start of the song you're probably quite downtrodden, and by the end of it you're like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Like, yeah, like, I didn't do nothing wrong, I don't do that. Like, that level of like rage.
Yeah.
And then another that's really just like totally like blue, just so blue.
Yeah.
And like dark grey. And I think they're really cool. Like, I really, really love them. They're like my children.
Literally your babies.
I have a song already out called Sad. And I sort of, after that EP came out, wrote her a sister song. And so the sister song's on this EP. So for people who like Sad,
they're going to love this. And you said that you studied music. So was sort of music always something that you were interested in growing up? And when did that sort of change to like, oh my God, I like I want people to hear what I have to say, you know?
I think music for me like has never not been in my life. Like, we've always had a piano in the house, and my dad's a bass player. Like, I wish there was nepotism going on. I promise I would. My dad plays like guitar and bass, and like I guess the nepotism is he taught me how to play guitar.
Yeah, there we go.
But, yeah, so it's always been around and always been there, and like I wasn't really raised on kid music. Like, I was raised on the music my parents listened to, which like you'll hear a lot of indie musicians say, like, I'm so influenced by like what my mum and dad listens to, and I'm exactly the same. Not a single unique experience.
Not an original thought.
Not an original thought in my brain. But like, I think I kind of started messing around. The first time I wrote a song I was 3, and I was just like backing the piano, and I was like, this sounds like a dragon. It's all the dragon composer. Like,
Beethoven, watch out.
Like, move on from the fucking finger title. I mean, it was like literally banging my fists on the keyboard and being like, the low end is the dragon's feet and the high end is the dragon's fire. Like, proper toddler. Like, anyway, I think I first wrote my first completed, fully fleshed out song in like first year of high school. I think it must have been like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And it was about like social inequality, and it was called like Some Men. It's all about some men are rich and some men are poor, and like, it's not your fault that social mobility is a scam. Like, this kind of thing. And it, like, in retrospect, it is very funny, but like at the time I was like really proud of it, and it was a big step forward for me. And then I put it on SoundCloud, and I kept putting stuff on SoundCloud, and got the like piss taken out of me for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And I just never really stopped writing music or putting it out, and now here we are. Yeah. Music has very, very, very much always been like just in my life, and to the like detriment of like everything else. Like, it has more and more and more consumed like or occupied like space in my life, to the point where like 90% of it is like not necessarily indoor foxes, but like music related.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is great. It's fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And who would you say your like, I mean, this can be musically or non-musically, but who would you say your influences are at all?
I don't really know. I think at the moment it's probably easier for me to be like, right now I'm obsessed with this, but like probably over time has been like Father Son massively.
Yeah.
Like, above all else, like Father Son has been an influence, and then like some Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
Like, I really love Phoebe Bridgers. I think she's
same.
Great.
She's awesome.
She's awesome. I went to see her at the Violence. I cried before.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen her yet. I can't allow myself to go because I know I'm going to be an absolute wreck. Like, I'll be like the person that's like unbelievable, like literally like Someone help me.
It was weird. Because I went to see over like 6 of my friends, and I was very emotional because I love Phoebe Bridgers. But then I went to see Beach House like a week later, and I was like so much more touched by it. I went on my own, and I was like, oh my god, I never want to go to Beach House. It was so good, and it was just so like spacey and lovely, and the crowd was so quiet.
Is that like something you'd want to tap into with your own music, do you think? Like, would you sort of want to bring like a spacey sort of feel to it, I guess?
I think that's what maybe church music serves the purpose of being. Of being that, like, it holds that place for experimentalism, and it holds that place for, like, it occupies the place in the EP that electronic music occupies in my life. Yeah. And that, like, it's maybe not an overwhelming influence, but it's always there, and I'm always listening to it, and it exists quite intensely around me.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the album art, like the single artwork that you've got for church music. And I was like wondering, like, is there a story behind that? Or was it just like, you were like, oh my God, this is so cool, slap it on and let's put it into the world?
I don't know, I just had a vision, like, see, the whole time we were making the song, I was like, I want it more like insecty, like everything's being described. I was like, I want it to be more like clicky, beatly, or like, I want the guitar to sound like you put wasps in a jar and shaking it, like. Yeah. Like, I always kept using these insect metaphors, and I was like, well, I have to include an insect on the album art. Yeah. And then I had seen that when I was like going to buy stickers for something else, I'd seen this like Bleeding Heart of Christ sticker. And I was like,
that's the one.
And I just took the heart off and replaced it with the Beatles. Something about that felt right. Yeah. The song is not a love song, even though it kind of is. Like, it sounds like it's very like, oh, like, let's go and like go to bed and la 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 la. It's like very soft. It's like super creepy. Like, yeah. It's like Plant Pot Song. Like, Plant Pot Song sounds like a love song, but that's about stalking.
No, literally.
Like, it's like, you like think about it for more than a second. You're like, oh.
You're like, oh, hang on a second.
It's actually really weird for me. Like, oh, why am I doing that? But I don't know. I just like had such a funny relationship with church music, and that it like, I don't have the same sense of ownership over church music that I do over the rest of the songs.
Right. Okay.
Much more collaboratively. And so when I was like, ooh, Beatles, like, ooh, sort of like came to me. And then I got left to my own devices. I normally go into my label's office and like spend the day like cutting and sticking and doing my scrapbooking and yapping, and they like give me input. But I didn't finish it all in one day. I had to take it home.
Oh no!
All bets were off. I was like, I'm doing whatever I want. Like pouring the nail polish on, like pulling it down using a hairdryer. I was like, oh.
You're like, guys, you'll see this when you see it. I don't want any judgment.
I was like, if you don't like it, don't say anything.
I can't handle it.
Like, I'll pass. I like had so much fun making it at home. Yeah. I just was like, here it is, like, I'm not changing.
No, this is it.
This is my creative process has come to an end, and it's here. Like, I'm not a super visual person. Like, I love looking at other people's aesthetics, but if you ask me to put one together for myself, I can't do it. Yeah. Like, I can write it all out, and then someone else has to do the like.
Take the reins. Like, yeah.
Literally, like, I can describe things in like the weirdest ways, or like find the weirdest like analogies, but like I cannot draw to save my life.
No, same. And I did an art degree, so honestly.
What is your like art form then?
So I went to UAL in London. And I was supposed to be doing photography. Didn't do any photography for 3 years. I was like, guys, I'm cooking here. Let me just cook for a sec. So I took up filmmaking, became like obsessed with like video like making, and then I did like a whole year's project of like painting to music. So I would literally sit in my studio and just paint like reactions to music, I guess, which was really cool. Oh. Yeah, it was really, really awesome.
Prince would have loved that.
Yes. And then and then I just sort of and then like lockdown happened and I was still in uni, so I was like having to sort of do an art degree from my home in my like childhood bedroom, and I was like, what am I doing, like what is going on? But yeah, so like
I had the same thing. I tried to do performance in lockdown. We had to do like a group performance.
You had to do it on Zoom. Oh my god, tell me about it. You're like having to strum the guitar. You're like, guys, just give me a sec.
It was because we were all kind of like synced up, but like obviously there's a delay on sound. So we were just like,
oh god.
I was like, let us cook, and the food was ruined.
It wasn't good. So what uni did you go to?
I went to Glasgow Uni. I'm actually going back in September to do a master's in musicology.
Hello, amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think like everybody was like, you should do a music business degree. I was like, I don't really want to. Like, I work in the music business.
Yeah, and there's people that will do it for you. So
I don't need you to tell me how to do it, and I actually feel like it might make it harder.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna unlearn all the like intuitive stuff I do.
For sure.
So I decided to do musicology, and now I just do like, I study Scottish Lowland women's manuscripts from like the 18th century.
That sounds so cool. Oh my god. That sounds awesome.
It's very geeky, very nerdy, and like very history vibes, but it is really fun.
Yeah. Do you think that like Glasgow has like influenced you in any way? Like, do you think like growing up in Scotland sort of has influenced you at all?
I think in the sense that like the cultural fabric of Scotland is like very rich.
Yeah.
And I mean the like actual, not the like, there's like an imaginary identity of Scotland.
For sure,
like,
yeah.
It's like the bagpipes and trad music and Sadolescence part, and like it's like a commodity almost, like to sell Scotland to tourists, but like the actual identity of Scotland, absolutely, like was born in Edinburgh, grew up there, then moved to Glasgow like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So urban life, like city life, but also like living through the festival every single year for 18 years is like a pretty good way to get yourself exposed to some like mental people and some mental environments, and going clubbing all the time, and like having a really great techno scene in Glasgow, or a really great indie scene, or like it not long ago had a really, really great punk scene in Glasgow. So all these practitioners and like creatives are all around you all the time. You like bump into them in the pub and like hang out and talk about music. That is influencing. Like that is quite radicalizing, actually.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I would like, honestly, if anyone wants to be like an indie musician, like come to Glasgow.
Come to Glasgow.
It's so small.
Yeah.
We'll simply not be able to avoid the musicians that live here. There's so many of us.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually quite sickening.
That's
like,
crazy.
it's competitive as well. Like, I see the King Tut's like summer nights lineup every single year. There's like 100 people I've never heard of that have cropped up, that are obviously like at King Tut's support level, so they're not tiny artists.
No, yeah.
And you're just like, who are you? Like, what?
Where have you come from? Speaking of like people that you like, people in the scene, do you have like any sort of songs or like albums that you're connecting to the most right now that you could sort of share?
What, like particularly in the Scottish scene, or just
anywhere, whatever you're interested in. Here we go.
I've got like 3 or 4 right now that I just cannot stop listening. Okay, first of all, this song "Medicine" by Mama.
Yeah.
I cannot stop listening to it. I don't know if there's an album, but better be.
I'll have to have a listen to it.
This "Lucky for You" by Bully.
Yeah.
Banger after no skips. Like,
no skip album.
No skip album. There is another 2 that I'm going to show you that I love. Oh, I totally forgot. Like, I'm like sat here like I'm influenced by this person, and this person, when I'm like the biggest Frightened Rabbit fan ever, and I'm like not even bringing them up. The Midnight Organ Fight, no skips, like so good. And then the first Father-Son album.
Yeah.
I think it's called I'm an Island. They just re-released it. I think it's 10. It turned 10 this year.
Amazing.
Beautiful. It's like quintessential Scottish rock. And then I just went to see Death Cab for Cutie, so I can't stop listening to Transatlanticism. Another no skips album. So Transatlanticism is is, as an album, as close as you will get to like the EP that's coming out, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Like as a complete body of work, I think it captures the same things I was trying to capture with Sadolescence.
Yeah. How do you feel about like performing the songs live? Because I know that you've got a couple of live shows, I think, right? Like London and Scotland, like London, wherever. But yeah.
London and Glasgow at the moment, and then hopefully some other stuff. But I haven't signed the forms. So.
Well, that was my final question, is what is next for you, do you think? Are you going to try and like make an album, or like what do you kind of want to do? It's a bit of an existential question to end on. Sorry, it's a bit of a deep one, but we're rolling with it.
I think to answer the first question about how I feel about performing live, I really enjoy it. I find the rehearsal process extremely stressful. Like, I'll be so real. Like, I find getting ready for a gig, like, I get really anxious about it. Not stage frighty, just like, oh my God, there's so much to do and so much to arrange, and I have to book these rehearsals, and like the admin part of it, I do not like. I don't think anybody really loves that part, but I feel like you don't hear, especially like bands talking about that, like booking, because it's almost never the front person that's also the like person that's doing all the stuff behind the scenes. That almost never happens. So you don't get to hear from that person that's doing all the emails or booking the practice rooms. Let me tell you, it's a full-time job. It's like really hard. Like, I'm so grateful that I now have a manager who like does a lot of this, but even still, like sorting the band out and like making sure everybody's free and doing the diaries is like not an easy task. But performing live is really great, and it's really fun. And I really love after the gig, like getting to chat to everyone, and like people coming up to the barrier to like who've maybe never seen you before, who are like, that was great, like I really enjoyed that, or like seeing your friends, even if you don't get to like hang out with them very much, like seeing your pals all having a nice night and getting to have a few drinks with them after is like really, really awesome. I think if I ever become super Taylor Swift famous, I would miss that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I was like Fontaine's DC,
oh my God,
that would be the thing I would miss.
They've blown up. It's crazy.
Have you listened to the new album?
Yeah, I've listened. What do you think of it?
I haven't listened to it, but I didn't love the singles, not because I don't think they're good, they just weren't for me. One time I was late to go on stage because I used to play with just my laptop, like playing tracks out of it. And my laptop, I put it on stage, went to go get onto the stage to like make sure everything was set up right. 5 minutes before my set, my laptop was updating on the like shitty venue Wi-Fi, and I was like,
and you're just like, guys.
I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was in tears at the side of the stage. I was like, I can't, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It ended up being fine, but like,
that's like the worst time for a laptop to choose to update.
Like, the sound guy was like, what do you want to do? And I was like,
beats me.
Like, I can't make it stop. Like, oh, I'm so glad I'm past that. I'm so glad I have the band now, because if the band mess up, at least it's their own fault.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or mine, but like, it's a person, not a computer. Like,
literally. And we'll round this off by saying, like, what do you think is next, or like, what do you hope is next for you? I guess would be the right question.
Well, I know that I'm gonna make another body of work. I'm not sure exactly what that will look like. Probably another EP, but I'm still sort of thinking about what I want my music to be, because now I feel like I did a lot of soul searching with Sadolescence that I now get to build on, and like I get to find me, and like now I get to show me, like you've all watched me try and figure out what me is, and now I get to show me. Like, we're here, this is who Indo Foxes is, like this is what I want to be, or like maybe I'm thinking about something quite aspirational, like I want to become this, and so I will make you know, like dress for the job you want kind of thing.
Of course,
But I really just want to develop and build up and like keep doing stuff. I've never tried to put any like firm goals on myself, because I just end up like letting myself down. Because when the thing doesn't happen that like you're actually dependent on a live agent or a new record deal or like a gig going through, like you're just gonna like let yourself down.
Of course.
I've always just been like, well, whatever comes next is what will be next.
Yeah, like whatever happens, exactly.
Yeah, so if someone wants to offer me like a 6-figure record deal, like box is open in like 6 months, like we can chat. Maybe we wouldn't say that. My life will be like, what the hell? But no, like I just want to continue to like make and write and be creative and experiment creatively and play live. And I would really love to play in America because I would quite like to go there again. That would be quite cool, like a little holiday. So cool. Maybe like Florida.
Maybe. Wait, let's shoot the stars. Coachella, why not?
It'd be fun. It's just somewhere hot and sunny. Like that'd be really nice. Somewhere that's not Scotland.
Please, guys.
Please, like it's rained all summer.
No, the same in Cardiff. It's just never ending. Like 1 minute it's sunny, and then the next minute it's chucking it down. And I'm just like, can we just make up our minds, please, for the love of God?
Yeah, because like I'm carrying my big jacket around with me everywhere.
Literally, and I'm looking like an idiot.
You get rained on.
And I look like an idiot when it's sunny the whole time, and I've got a leather jacket on my arm, and I'm like,
and you're like, I'm sweating, carrying this really heavy item of clothing. Like, you lied to me. You were raining when I left the house. Like, what is this about?
But it's been so great chatting to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm so excited.
Anytime. Call for a gap.
And hopefully I'll get to see you live soon.